Good morning, students. Today we are going discussing the topic of the human reproduction. The human reproduction. So we know that reproduction. What is the definition of reproduction? Reproduction. So here the producing of animals, producing of animals of their same kind is called as a reproduction. So here that means here we producing of a same type of species are producing. Example, if you take a place, a cat will produce cats, dogs will produce dogs. Likewise, the humans will produce the humans only. So here the same type of species are producing. Then we can say as a reproduction. Here the same kind is very important. Why means here producing of animals means we cannot say as a reproduction. Why means here the cats will not produce the dogs cannot produce cats. Likewise here the cats will produce the cats only, dogs will produce the dogs only. So same type of species will producing the same kind of species are producing. So here it is called as a reproduction. So here in a reproduction, we know that it is one of an important characteristic feature of living organisms. Why it is a very important characteristic feature means here it helpful for the continuity of a species. Here it shows the continuity of a species from generation to a generation. So here it plays a very important role in a living organism. Why means here without a reproduction, here the species continuity will not be taken place. So the species should transfer from a generation to generation. That means to continue their race or a family history. If you take a family history, they continue their race from generation to a generation. And here compulsory, here it requires the process called as a reproduction. So here it is we can call as a physiological process where compulsory it is needed. Why means at the end of their lifespan, each species will having a lifespan will be presenting. So at the end of their lifespan, here the species have to continue their species. That means for generation to generation they have to produce. So when they producing the species from generation to generation, here the species will go continuously will goes of their race. So that here reproduction is one of an important characteristic feature taken place in a living organism. Now coming to the human reproduction. So here human reproduction, humans, already we know that the humans are a sexually reproducing organism. These are a sexually reproducing organism, and also will show that viviparous, and also shows that the sexual dimorphism. So here humans are sexually reproducing. Sexually reproducing means here the gametes are presenting. reproduction. So here humans shows the sexual reproduction having the gametes are presenting. The gametes which are presenting, these gametes are produced from the gonads. These are produced from the gonads. Gonads are we can call them as sex organs. Sex organs are primary sex organs also. From the sex organs, here it helpful for producing of the sex cells are presenting. The sex cells we can call them as gametes. So in the presence of gametes, here young ones are produced in the male containing the male gametes, the female containing the female gametes. Here male gametes we can call as the sperms. So sperms are the male gametes, a male, and a female gametes are the egg or ova. Egg or ova or ovum. So here these are the where we are having these sperms and eggs are the gametes. So here in the presence of gametes, the reproduction will be taken place. So humans we can call as the sexually reproducing an organisms. And second one, viviparous. Here humans shows viviparous. Viviparous means here directly they produce young ones. If directly they produce young ones, directly if they produce an young ones are called as viviparous. That means directly they are producing young ones after fertilization. Here in humans the fertilization is internal fertilization. When internal fertilization is taken place, that is development is taken place inside the uterus region or in the uterus or womb of the mother. Here in the womb of the mother or uterus, here the development is taken place after 9 months. After 9 months, that is 270 days. After 270 days, here the deliberation of a baby is taken place. So directly we are able to producing an young ones, so that we can call them as a viviparous. And also the third one, here it shows the sexual dimorphism. Here it shows that the sexual dimorphism. Here third one will show that the sexual dimorphism. Here what is the sexual dimorphism means? By seeing external characters. By seeing an external characters. By seeing external characters, we can identify the male and the female. We can identify the male and female, so that we can call this as the sexual dimorphism. So it means by seeing external characters, the male and female, we can easily identify. So we can see that in humans it shows a clear picture of a sexual dimorphism. By seeing external characters, we can differentiate which is a male organism and which is a female organism. So the differentiating of a male and female by seeing an external characters, so we can call this as the sexual dimorphism. This sexual dimorphism we can see firstly we can see in an husky helminths. Husky helminths, or we can use them as nematodes. In this nematodes, we can see as firstly we can see as the sexual dimorphism. Example, we can take a place as an ascaris. where here we can see the ascaris by seeing a male and a females. The males are very short in structure and here does not show skulls, but in females they are longer in structure and shows a curve in nature, so that with the help of these external characters we can easily differentiate the male and a female an organism, so that we can call as the sexual dimorphism. And also here when we do the sexual dimorphism, humans will show that a dioecious organism, that is male, both male and female are, they are separately, the gametes are separately, they are presenting, so that we can call this as a dioecious organisms. Next, coming to the basic phases of physiology of reproduction. Here in this there are different basic physiology, that is basic concepts are presenting. So we can call them as basic physiology of reproduction. So in this firstly we can say as first one we can call as gametogenesis. And second one is called as insemination. And the third one we can call as the fertilization to the blastocyst. Fourth one is fertilization. Fourth one is cleavage. Fifth one egasculation. And the sixth one will show that an implantation. Later will show that an organogenesis, or we can use morphogenesis. And the eighth one will show that the placentation. And lastly will show that the parturition. So these are the several sequential steps where it takes place in a basic physiology of reproduction. That is one we can call as gametogenesis, second one we can call as insemination, third one fertilization, fourth one cleavage, fifth one gastrulation, and sixth one implantation, organogenesis, a placentation, and lastly we can call as a parturition. So these are the several sequential steps where it takes place in an human reproductive system. So here it shows the basic phases of reproduction. The first one, that is gametogenesis. So here what is the gametogenesis means? The formation of the haploid gametes. The formation of the haploid sex cells or gametes, called as sperms and ovum, from diploid primary germ cells called as gametogonias present in the reproductive organs called as gonads. Example, we can take a place as males in the testes and the females we can call as the ovaries. So here in a gametogenesis, here the gametes are producing from the gonads. Gonads are, we can call them as the primary sex organs. Or we can use them as gametogonias. We can call as gametogonia. So here the gametogonias are gonads are primary sex cells are they are in a diploid in structure. They are a diploid in structure. The diploid structures here we are able to producing a haploid that are called as haploid gametes. Haploid gametes are producing haploid gametes are produced called as gametes. Haploid gametes are producing. So here the haploid gametes are in the form of an n number of chromosomes are presenting. So that here these are haploid gametes are in a haploid and the gonads are primary sex organs are gametogonias are in a diploid in structure where here it undergoes first it undergoes in the meiotic division. It undergoes the meiosis and producing the haploid number of gametes are producing. So here this process we can call as a gametogenesis. So here an example we can take a place in example the testes. The testes are the gonads where they produce the sperms. Sperms are the haploid gametes. And in ovaries, ovaries are the gonads or primary sex organs are gametogonias where they produce an egg or a ovum. An egg or a ovum are producing. So here the sperms and egg or ovum are called as the gametes where they are producing from the diploid gametogonias. So this process we can call as a gametogenesis. This gametogenesis is differentiated into two types. One we can call as the spermatogenesis and second one is we can call as the oogenesis. Spermatogenesis means here the formation of the haploid sperms from the gameto that is from the diploid spermatogonias. From the spermatogonia here the haploid sperms are producing. So of the testes we can call as a spermatogenesis. Or we can define as the producing of the gametes from the diploid spermatogonias we can call as the spermatogenesis. Likewise here the oogenesis. Oogenesis means here the producing of ova or the egg or ovum from a diploid oogonia. From the oogonia here the diploid from the diploid oogonia the haploid number of gametes are producing. They are called as an egg or ovum. So this process we can call as the oogenesis. The oogenesis is taken place in a female reproductive system and spermatogenesis is taken place in a male reproductive system or male organisms. So these are the two type of a process. One we can call as spermatogenesis and second one we can call as oogenesis. Next, second one, if you see coming to the second one, that is second concept is an insemination. Insemination